This podcast contains discussions of child abuse, sexual repression and sexual abuse, suicide, racism, misogyny, PTSD and PTSD symptoms, and spiritual oppression and abuse, including guilt, shame, and fear. In most episodes, we will be mentioning some of these concepts in a general way without any graphic detail. If any of these topics or other triggering topics will be mentioned in great detail, we will let you know at the beginning of each individual episode, as well as in the show notes for that episode.
Rolling river of time, you've healed me in too many days. No regrets, no confusion, there'll be no pollution. I'm so thankful I've decided to change my ways.
Welcome back to the Leaving Eden podcast. My name is Sadie Carpenter, and I am here with my co-host.
Hi, my name is Gavriel Hacohen, and I think that Stryper rocks with an asterisk.
Cool. With an asterisk. Well, we're going to talk about that. We are here for a homework episode, and I'm introducing the episode, which I don't normally do, because this is a reverse homework episode. I assigned Gavi the wonderful album In God We Trust by Stryper. Stryper is the Christian hair metal band, and that's what we're going to be discussing today.
Yes, I'm very excited to do this because, we just a little background. We just recorded an episode that's going to be airing in a couple of weeks where we talked all about music, and all about, what Christian music is allowed and isn't allowed in the IFB. And this is some Christian music that wasn't allowed in the IFB, but you know what? We do have some things to say about it because it is quite interesting.
Yeah, this is, so I heard Stryper referenced kind of vaguely in the IFB, and they got thrown in with bands like Skillet, which is like...
Who's Skillet?
Skillet is like a Christian hardcore band or Christian nu metal.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Like, they're like emo Christian bands. My husband actually has a really funny story about when his like thrash metal band accidentally got booked to play opposite a Christian emo band in the basement of a church.
It was by accident. They didn't know.
They didn't know that his band wasn't Christian, apparently. Or emo. So anyway, back in the day.
These guys.
Yeah, he's got some great stories about that. But Stryper is something totally different. Stryper is a Christian metal band that was formed in the 1980s and has a very distinctive, like, glam metal, hair metal vibe.
So when we're talking about glam metal, hair metal, we are talking about Def Leppard. We are talking about Poison. We are talking about, who else? Who are the
Rat?
Rat. Oh yeah, they had that song round and round.
Yeah, like I feel like there's a good bit of Rat in, and there's the vocals are kind of Skid Row-ish.
Yeah.
In some like some songs are a little bit White Snake. Like all of these, what's that band that did Come On Feel the Noise? His name I can remember.
Quiet Riot.
Yeah, that's the one. But there are elements of all of these bands, and Stryper still kind of manages to be their own thing.
Yeah.
What's really interesting is that people who were not Christians were into Stryper. Like at the time, people like Stryper opened for some major metal bands.
That doesn't surprise me though, because like, this is one of the so when I listen to the music, Sadie told me, okay, I'm going to have you listen to this Christian hair metal band. I went on the Stump a Catholic podcast with my friend Ray, who hosts that podcast. And he is also a Catholic. And I told him about that. He's also like a hard rock fan because he's the guy that had us on his podcast, which is the Permanent Waves podcast, which is all about the Canadian prog rock band Rush. So he's a rock and roll guy just like me. And so Sadie's like, okay, you're going to listen to Stryper. I told Ray I'm going to listen to Stryper. He's like, oh, dude, Stryper rocks. And I'm just like, okay, does Stryper rock or does Stryper rock for a Christian band? Because you showed me Patch the Pirate. And Patch, yeah. And like Patch the Pirate, like if you're comparing like Patch the Pirate to Mr. Rogers, then Patch the Pirate is like, I mean, he sounds like a rinky dink $49 keyboard, like the demo track on the keyboard and some guy and some kids singing over it. Like Stryper sounded like a full blown hard rock glam metal band. Like the singer is really talented. The guitar player is really good. Like it sounded like if you combined Styx with Iron Maiden with Def Leppard. That's how I would describe it.
Yeah, like Stryper is a real legitimate band.
Yeah, they're a band. They rock super hard.
Yeah, like they opened for Bon Jovi. Like like people would go see them on purpose, regardless of the Christian message of their lyrics. Did you get to find out where the name Stryper comes from?
I didn't.
Because people will kind of refer to them as like the Bumblebee Band, because a lot of their, like in their more glam days, a lot of their outfits are yellow and black, striped, and it kind of gives a bee appearance at times. So
okay, but a lot of people were wearing like cheetah print, like zebra print,
or
like back in the days
like
where the tight pants with the big hair.
That iconic Motley Crue photo shoot where they're all in like kind of red and black leather with like the lace up pants and stuff.
Yeah.
So their outfits aren't that crazy. I'm not a fan of the yellow and black personally, but Stryper comes
the match Eddie Van Halen's guitar.
Yeah.
BD Eddie Van Halen.
Stryper comes from a Bible verse, actually. So the verse is, he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. So the Stryper is a reference to, by his stripes we are healed, or like the wounds of the crucifixion.
Oh, interesting.
So in case you were wondering, that's where that comes from.
But that sounds like just the name of a metal band from the 80s that you would hear about.
Right. And I think that's like part of the genius of Stryper, is that it's explicitly Christian, but it toes this line where they're still actually cool.
So yeah,
they're contemporary with other hair metal bands.
So that's the sort of thing that was interesting to me, because like it's literally just like very like straight down the middle hair metal music, except for that all of the songs are Christian,
about Jesus. Yeah.
Like, so if you are a Christian and you really, really, really like hair metal music, this is the band for you. And you want all your music to be Christian, but you're like, oh man, but I love this, like, this hair metal, man, like Poison rocks, Def Leppard rocks. Like, this is the band for you. They will do that very convincingly. You will be very, very happy with what you get. I found that really interesting. I was expecting it to just be like really sad and really cringy and something that I could laugh at and point my finger at and be like, ha ha ha, look at them trying to do this, but they're so bad at it. No, like they rock. This band rocks. I'm not going to deny it.
They totally do. And one reason that I picked this for you, okay, so the one reason that I picked this for you is that I legitimately love Stryper.
I'm not going to make fun of you for loving Stryper.
Well, I'm super into glam metal as it is.
I know, like that's like your thing. You're a rock and roll kid.
Well, like I love metal as like I listen to all sorts of stuff. I listen to, I just got my husband a Testament record for Christmas that was pretty cool, like Dimmu Borgir, Children of Bodom, and Mayhem, and At the Gates, and In Flames, and some of these like really harder metal bands, like more contemporary or like 90s Norwegian metal bands. Like I'm into the hard stuff too, but I also have a true appreciation. I love Bon Jovi. I love Motley Crue. I
Love
love
GNR, Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses. Like, so I'm super into like actual hair metal as well. So the number one reason that I picked Stryper is because I wanted to listen to Stryper again. Like, I wanted an excuse to go through this album a couple times and enjoy something that I like. The other
Totally
reason,
understandable.
The other reason I thought you might really make friends with this album is because of the vocals, because you have a great vocal range.
Oh, thank you.
My friends have still not stopped talking about the time we all went to karaoke literally a year ago and you sang
when everything was open.
Queen.
I did. I sang Somebody to Love by Queen and nailed it, as I always do.
Yeah, I
should have done Love on Top by Beyonce. That's another one that I like doing at karaoke, and people like hear that, they're like, "Oh boy, oh boy, this guy's really going for it." So with all the key changes, in the original key.
Yes. No, I talked to one of my friends who was there that night, like a couple weeks ago, and he was like, "Oh yeah, how's your friend with like the really good voice?" So and like
I'm glad to be known as that.
Well, yeah, you deserve it, I would say. But like, Michael Sweet also has a fantastic vocal range, a fantastic high range, and a really great falsetto range, and that's something that I thought that you would relate to.
Oh, that's absolutely something that I appreciate. And like the every performance on this album, there was nothing that felt a little bit like, oh, I was really reaching for like a little patch together.
No, he's just legitimately that talented.
Very talented guy. You know who it reminded me? It reminded me of Iron Maiden.
Yeah, Bruce Dickinson.
Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden. Like that really just strong, operatic, like power, like what metal subgenre is Iron Maiden?
Iron Maiden. See, I don't know. Like, I would have to ask Jonathan, because every time I say something, because often I say the wrong thing and then I get corrected.
Right, because stuff that used to be like heavy metal is now like, oh, well, that's just hard rock now because metal's gotten heavier.
Yeah, because I said something the other day about black metal, and what he was listening to was actually melodic death metal. And I got corrected, so
oh, of course.
I would have to. Well, how dare I not know the difference?
Like with metal, though, every single time that you like have a new band that sounds different, like that band has to be its own genre.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Like there's a lot of like reinvention, because you've got the difference between because you've got a band like Hatebreed. Some people would call that hardcore. Some people so there's hardcore, but then there's also metalcore. And then there's also, all these like offshoots of that.
Yeah. And like, no, but like, it's like with metal, you can know, it's like, oh, well, we're melodic death metal. Okay. Well, we're black metal. Well, we're black and melodic death metal. Okay. Well, we're black and melodic death metal, but we have breakdowns. Okay. Well, we're black and melodic death metal, but we don't have breakdowns. Like, you have to specify whether or not you have breakdowns in your songs as to like what genre.
It's like, I just like it.
It's metal. Cool. It's good. Like, oh, we have we're black and melodic death metal, but we have gent influences. And we also have progressive influences. So we're black and melodic progressive death metal death gent.
Right. So things can get a little off the rails with metal, I think is what we're trying to say. But Stryper is such a beautiful, I think that's another thing I really like about it, is it's very pure. Like the sound is it's so
the production
clean.
Is excellent. The production is excellent on this music.
Gorgeous. Right, you hear the guitar harmonies just in a beautiful way, and it's just such a fantastic example of this particular style of music.
You can tell that they weren't drunk or on drugs when they made this album, because
yeah, that's true.
The performances are good. There's no sloppiness on it.
So do you want to jump into a couple songs off this album that we really like?
So before we do that, I want to ask you what the IFB would have had to say about this music.
I think I heard Stryper talked about kind of similarly to how Kiss was talked about.
Really?
The IFB does not know the difference between that entire conversation we just had about different subgenres of metal and like how metal bands and metal listeners classify themselves. The IFB has no clue that any of that exists. So to them, like Bon Jovi or Stryper is the same as Iron Maiden, which is the same as Kiss, which is the same as Mayhem,
which is the same as Metallica, which is the same as Meshuggah,
Rush, or anything, or Sabaton, or like whatever.
Periphery.
Right. Like,
all of these bands are the same, and it's heavy metal.
Right. To them, metal is a monolith. And it's all satanic. And it all sounds the same. Now, this isn't completely unreasonable, because IFB music is so narrow that anything outside of it that includes dissonant chords or extremely loud drum beats or any kind of double kick sounds so chaotic to your ear.
Right.
If you're not used to any kind of dissonance in your music at all, or any kind of distortion on a guitar at all, or any kind of drums at all, then any kind of metal can sound very dissonant. When you're used to IFB music is so narrow that you've never really heard any dissonance or any of that kind of drum beat or any distortion in your guitars. So all metal kind of does sound the same. It just sounds loud.
So what this is reminding me of, do you remember that episode of The Simpsons when they are in church and Bart puts in the Bart in front of, so Bart goes and takes in front of the organist, he puts music for Inagata Devita by Iron Butterfly. He puts it in, and it says "In the Garden of Eden" by, and then Reverend Lovejoy is like, and we are going to have the hymn "In the Garden of Eden" by Iron Butterfly. And it's like
yes, Bart Sells His Soul is the episode.
Yeah, and then so Reverend Lovejoy is like, wait, this isn't him, this sounds like rock and roll. Like, yeah, and then Homer and Marge are like, hey baby, do you remember when we used to make out to this hymn? Dun dun, yes. Dun 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 dun. Iconic song, but that, man,
right, and that is the lead in to a really great Simpsons episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, I mean, so Lovejoy and like the members of the church didn't put together that this isn't a hymn.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's like kind of relevant to like how music is portrayed, and specifically in the IFB, like it's just one thing. Like it's good music or it's bad music, and if it's bad music, it's satanic.
If you're honoring God or you're not honoring God, and if you're not honoring God, it's satanic, and if you're honoring God, then it's an IFB hymn. But if it's a hymn that doesn't use King James version, then it's not honoring God properly, and therefore it's satanic.
So what I heard about Stryper is that, you know, they're trying to appeal to the world, and they're selling out their Christianity to try to appeal to the world, and that you know, basically like they think that they're doing the right thing, but actually, you know, they're bringing shame to God's name, because there's no such thing as a Christian metal band, and I don't think they're very Christian. Like that's kind of what I was hearing.
They don't dress like us. You can't be a Christian unless
because they dress like the world. Don't you see them imitating the world's styles of dressing?
Yeah, I mean it's like that No True Scotsman kind of thing. Yeah, it's that exactly.
So like that's kind of what I heard about Stryper is like either like, oh well, maybe they're secret Satanists trying to steal away Christian young people, like so they want to make Christian young people get into heavy metal, and then those Christian young people won't be satisfied with Christian music anymore. Or I would hear it the other way, like these guys are Christians and they're trying to like pull people out of the world to Jesus, but they are misguided because they don't understand that the evil kind of music that they play is never going to bring anybody to Jesus.
That's really funny. I mean, I don't know. It seems to me like
they got it from both sides.
Rather than that, it's just like, well, Christian people like metal too. Let's make metal music that is in line with our Christian sensibilities. That's literally
Yeah,
all it
like
is. Yeah.
we're Christian dudes who like want to play super cool metal.
Yeah, I mean that's
so
sort of the thing that I think that people don't understand as an artist. Like and you can probably speak to some of this too. Is that as an artist, you want to make music that is an express. Like if you're writing lyrics, if you're writing music, you want to make music that speaks to who you are as a person. So if you're feeling a certain way, then you want to make a song about that. If you have a really strong opinion about one thing or another, you want to make a song that is inspired by that. If, say, you like a huge part of your life is, oh, I'm a really strong Christian, like, and you happen to be in a metal band, like, what are you going to do? Not make a song about being a really strong Christian? Like, of course you're going to want to make a song about really being a really strong Christian.
Right.
Like that just makes sense. Like that's just being honest to who you are as an artist. And I'm not going to hate anybody for doing that.
And like a band I brought up earlier was Hatebreed, and I don't know, are you familiar at all with Hatebreed?
You've mentioned them a couple of times before.
I don't know if they're Christians, or I don't know if like somebody in the band is in recovery from some kind of addiction recovery. I have not looked into the background of the band, but a lot of their lyrics are like super uplifting. So Hatebreed is a band that sounds very heavy. There's no melody at all in the vocals. It's all kind of that screamy, growly kind of sound.
I like that, yeah.
But the lyrics are like, this is now. How can I change tomorrow if I don't change today? This is now. If I control myself, I control my destiny.
Yeah.
So like the lyrics were like one of my favorite bands, Arch Enemy. A lot of the lyrics are super uplifting and about like finding your own way and like believing in yourself, and you know what's right and you need to have the courage to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know if those are Christian focused or like Christian principles in any way on purpose. But a lot of people write lyrics that speak to like a lot of metal musicians write lyrics that speak to a more spiritual side of themselves or a more philosophical side.
Yeah.
That's not uncommon, when you get a little deeper into the world of all this.
Yeah, I mean, musical aesthetics don't necessarily have anything to do with the subject matter of music, right? Like, I mean, they intertwine at certain places. I mean, there's Christian rappers, and then there's rappers who rap about selling drugs and killing people, and there's rappers who do both. And like there's it's the same with any kind of music, folk music, country music. I mean, there's country music that's about drinking and trying to hook up with girls in the back of pickup trucks, and then there's country music that's about Jesus, and oftentimes those songs will be by the same artist. So
totally possible.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, well, now do you want to dive into a couple of the songs that we particularly liked off this record?
Yes, let's do that. So I want to start at the top. So the album that she had me listen to is this album that came out in 1988. It's called In God We Trust.
And I think the cover art is super cool.
Yeah, I was looking at the cover art. I mean, it looks like it's got like the pyramid like in the dollar, and then it has the Stryper logo with the yellow and black stripes on it. I mean, it looks like a metal, like a hair metal album cover. It doesn't look out of place. So the first song was In God We Trust, and like this song was the first Stryper song that I heard, and I thought that the vocals sounded like Def Leppard harmonies, like how they always have like the vocal harmonies really, really layered, like double tracked, multi-tracked, and very hard, like full. It was a very full bodied sound. But this song rocked pretty hard. It was probably like a mid tempo, just banger to come right out the gate with.
I agree. This was a great first song. This is also one of my favorites vocally.
Yeah. And this was one of the ones where I thought that the singer sounded a lot like Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden.
I can see that. There's a part, I think there's a bridge kind of near the end of this song where there's just some real high notes, and I can definitely agree that there's a Bruce Dickinson kind of sound.
Yeah. Yeah, so that song I liked. I thought
this song is like, it's a great opener because it really gets you excited about listening to the rest of the album.
Yeah, so the songs that I thought were the weakest on the album were I Believe in You and The Writings on the Wall, because it just felt like they got to the middle of the album kind of just like, okay, let's hide these kind of weaker ones in the
Oh,
middle.
see, I like the writings on the wall.
It's a perfectly fine song, but it just didn't really speak to me in any way. And then the later tracks on the album, It's Up to You, World of You and I, Come to the Everlife. Come to the Everlife might have been my favorite one on the album. That one was kind of like almost like a Styx song. You know how that song felt to me? The song Come to the Everlife. If say I died and I was like a metalhead, right? Say I die, I'm a metalhead and I'm going to metal heaven.
Okay.
And I'm on like this golden escalator and there's like angels around me shredding on golden guitars. No, like you can see what I'm like.
No, that's a great mental image.
And
yeah.
like there's like flames, but like cool, but like good flames, not like flames like I'm in hell, but just like, you know, metal flames. And like,
yeah,
I'm like going up the escalator and I'm looking up at the top and I can see Lemmy up there. I can see Dimebag up there and they're like about to welcome me into metal heaven. This is the song that's playing.
That was such a good description.
That's like the vibe that I got from the song. It's like, come to the Everlife. Yeah. So dramatic.
And
like so like, but it's uplifting. It's powerful.
And that is what Stryper does so well. Like the high drama.
Yeah.
You know, like the super dramatic, like
it felt authentic. That's all.
It's
like, that's what I'm
a
going to say.
very big sound.
Yeah, the very orchestral.
Yeah,
operatic.
And I like that. I like that in music anyway.
You know what? It reminded me kind of Rock of Ages by Def Leppard.
Oh, which is also
that song? Yeah, Rock of Ages. Yeah.
But yes, but are you aware that Rock of Ages is also the title of a Christian hymn?
Yeah, I'm familiar. I've heard it. But that's a great song. The song by Def Leppard. That's a great song.
No, it is.
Classic 80s hair metal, heavy metal.
I wanted to ask you what you thought of Keep the Fire Burning.
That song sounded like a Styx song to me. That was one that I really liked. It felt like a Styx song, like from the early 80s. Like you could you know what I'm saying? Like the way that the harmonies it sounded almost like
tempo.
The Grand Illusion by Styx.
Not well enough to hum it, no.
There's a song by Styx called The Grand Illusion, and that's kind of what it reminded me of.
I'll have to look that up.
Yeah.
I like the up tempo of Keep the Fire Burning.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I feel like it does like an inspirational Christian song in a less cheesy way.
Yeah.
I feel like Keep the Fire Burning would be like at the end of a movie. Like the kind of a movie that's about like a hero's journey.
Yeah.
Like we've gotten to the end, the person has completed their journey, they've like won whatever, like they won the contest or they got the girl or like whatever was the end of that story.
Yeah.
And you know like Arnold movies that had their own songs written for Fade Out? Like the Running Man had a metal song composed that was meant for like the credits.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. A lot of
those like classic Arnold films will have like a song that was written for the film that they'll be over the closing credits.
Yeah.
I feel like Keep the Fire Burning could have been that song.
No, I could totally see that too. Yeah, I thought this song was pretty good.
It's like up tempo, it's inspirational without being cheesy.
Yeah, I mean, a few of the ones like I Believe in You, that one was just kind of like, nah. That one didn't really do
I feel like I Believe in You makes me think of songs that they used to sing at pastor school. Just like with guitar and drums.
Right. But I think my favorite, Lonely was really good. Lonely was a really good like a power ballad. You know. You
gotta love a good power ballad.
Yeah. The Rain might have been my favorite one on the whole album. That one was just like that was I see one of the things that I think they got the sequencing for this album wrong. They put the songs in the wrong order because The Rain I think should have been earlier on the album because that one is just like it's super upbeat. It rocks super hard. It's got, the meedly me guitars. It's yeah, oh man, that song goes. That song
See, I feel
hits
like we
super
could have
hard.
moved the rain to the last song on the first side of the record.
Yeah.
And then we could have maybe put the writings on the wall as the first song of the second side of the record.
Yeah, and what you'd end with Lonely, end with like a power ballad. That's good.
Yeah, that's workable. So there's one song on this record that kind of encapsulates a phenomenon that I wanted to talk about. And that's the Jesus is my boyfriend Christian song.
Okay.
And the song is The World of You and I.
Yeah, so I was listening to this and I'm like, so the lyrics of the song, it felt to me like I didn't really get the "oh, Jesus is my boyfriend" vibe from it. I don't know if that's a thing. I guess I wasn't listening for it, but it felt like it's this. You're like, okay, this is a song where you'll go to heaven and then we'll both be there forever and it'll be perfect.
Okay, so you're hearing like I'm gonna like my girlfriend is also a Christian. We're gonna go to heaven together.
Yeah, which you've explained to me in the Jack Scoff episode is a Mormon doctrine, not a Baptist doctrine or a regular Christian doctrine. That's a Mormon doctrine. I don't know.
Different groups of Christianity view that different ways, but the idea of like if you're in love with somebody that you go to heaven and then you're in love and married in heaven, that specifically is a Mormon doctrine.
It's like soulmates in the Good Place.
Yes, except for that it would automatically be the person you were married to on earth.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Which Jesus specifically said is not true in Matthew. Anyway, no, the lyrics from World of You and I, like, we can have what everybody dreams about. We can say hello and never say goodbye.
Yeah, that's what
that's
what I was thinking about.
It's hard to know whether this is like a man singing to a girlfriend or whether it's meant to personify Jesus singing to a person. Like, it's very ambiguous. The part that seems Jesus-y is like, you've got to keep your faith. Follow me, I'll lead the way. There doesn't have to be any pain. Forever you and I will reign. So that really seems like really seems like it's referencing like how the Christian person is going to be with Jesus in heaven.
Okay, so Jesus is my boyfriend is like a common theme within Christian music. Yeah.
It's like a trope.
Well, so here's a question. Did you I'm sure you saw the South Park episode called Faith Plus One, where Cartman and Token and Butters decide to start a Christian rock band. And they they're like, yeah, our band's going to be platinum, but they don't go platinum, they go more. But they make a song where it's like, I want to walk with Jesus on a private beach for two or something like that. And it sounds super like, they're like, oh, we love Jesus. It sounds like, no, it sounds like you're in love with Jesus. Like,
right. And Cartman is all like, oh yeah, it's a Jesus is my boyfriend song.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, so there is The World of You and I on this record, and then there's one that is also more blatant about this, which is I Believe in You.
Yeah.
And you said you weren't a big fan of this one.
It was mostly because the music just didn't do it for me.
That's understandable. The thing is, like,
this felt a little bit boring.
I Believe in You is absolutely a song written from a person to Jesus. And maybe that just kind of passed you by because you don't have that assumption in your mind.
I assumed that it was a person. Well, like, I assumed that it was a person singing to Jesus because, like, that, okay. Why else would it be called I Believe in You?
Right. But it's like, I don't know. This one is, to me, it's like the epitome of a Jesus is my boyfriend song. Like, in my heart you'll stay, and I believe in you through and through, always and forever it will be. You and me together. I want your love forever. I need your love. You're the only one that fills my heart, and I love you more and more every day.
Yeah, no, it's like one of those.
It's pretty lovey.
No, that reminds me of that of a different Simpsons episode where Ned Flanders falls in love with the Christian singer.
That blonde chick.
No, the blonde.
Not Lurleen, but the other girl.
No, the blonde woman was the
Lurleen Lumpkin.
No, the blonde woman was the movie star.
Oh, okay.
No, there's a different episode where there's a singer that comes to the church, and she has like a band, and then she like she's like, oh, my band quit. They decided that they were going to play regular music, not Christian music, and what they did was they just changed the word Jesus to baby in every song.
Okay. I mean, yes, though. Like that's this song is very Jesus is my boyfriend, but I mean, I think it's pretty. It's a pretty song.
No, it's the sort of thing where it just felt like there's a level of cheesiness that I can be like, okay, I can get with this. This is fun. Like hair metal in general is cheesy, right? I mean, it's a cheesy genre, and sometimes it rocks super hard. You can just be like, yeah, I can get. I want to go to this concert. I'm gonna wear a t-shirt with the sleeves cut off and make my hair super big and like just go all out, wear like crazy clothes, wear tight pants and boots. Like,
you are absolutely not talking to somebody who owns 2 different pairs of leather pants.
Oh, of course you own 2 different pairs of leather pants. You're a metalhead.
But one of them's fake. One of them's fake leather.
Oh, pleather is even more hair metal.
Yeah.
It's true. But like, and wear like a belt with some spikes on it, just like to try to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jonathan has one of those. It's always interesting when he accidentally wears it to the airport.
Guy liner, that's yep. Like all that really big metal stuff. Looking like David Bowie in Labyrinth. Yep. But like, and that is a level of cheesy that, if you're going to be into hair metal, you're going to be into that. But like, then there's like a level of cheesy on top of that. And I think, maybe you're more acclimated to the level of cheesy than I am because of what you were raised with and how, like, it's like when we did the Hyles Anderson tour tapes episode when you were like, oh, this song was super emotional. I'm just like, really? Like all of the music here was just yeah. like overblown and like the strings come in and they're like, oh, here it. I'm just like, oh my God, stop. Like,
right. I think you're really probably correct with that. Like I am acclimated to the level of cheesiness. With Stryper, I feel like I am very willing to overlook that because the musicianship is
it's top tier.
Right, because like we've got like real talent on instruments and real incredible vocal talent.
Yeah.
And I think because like with that in mind, I am just so ready to overlook any cheesiness because like I love the musicianship here so much.
Well, the musicianship is really good. And that's the thing that I think like really sells it. Because if you were doing the same exact thing, if you were doing the same exact music thing but the musicianship was not there, it would be like borderline unlistenable. But because the musicianship is there and like the singing is solid, like the singing is really good, the guitar playing is really good, the songwriting is, at least from what I can tell, pretty decent. Then you end up with something that's really like that. You have a concept and you sell it really well. It's a good hair metal band that happens to only play Christian music. That's what I. But also, here's the thing. Is that this brings me to the drawback from this band. And this isn't just a drawback with this band, and this isn't a drawback that's exclusive to Christian music. Because as I've said before, I don't specifically have an aversion to music with overt Christian or overt religious themes. Like, my issue is that if you say, okay, we are a Christian metal band, how many ways are there to say worship God, Jesus saves, we are sinners, but we've been redeemed? Like how many ways do you have to say that? You can only say that so many times and in so many different ways. And it's the same as how I'm not really into like a lot of black metal, because how many different ways are there to say Hail Satan?
Hail Satan, I'm dead inside. Yeah.
Yeah. Like how many ways can you say that? And it's like a lot of the same reason why, like, a lot of these like emo rappers that are out now, like how many different ways can you say,
I miss my girlfriend?
Like, yeah, I miss my girlfriend. I wish she'd never left me. I hate the world. I'm going to do a bunch of drugs and like I don't care if I die. Like,
Get face tattoos.
yeah, I get face tattoos. I don't care about the future. I don't care if I like that whole genre of like emo rap. That doesn't really do it for me because like how many ways are you gonna like do like one or two songs like that? Yeah, great. That sounds good. Maybe do like a whole project based on that. Yeah, that's good. But like if you do that over and over and over and over and over again, you're kind of pigeonholing yourself. Like if you're a hard rock or like a heavy metal band, you could be Christian musicians, right? Put one or two or three songs on the album with like strong Christian themes. And then maybe you've got 7 or 8 more tracks where you can do like a love song. You can do a song about overcoming adversity. You can do a song about having a fast car. You can do a song about being an astronaut if you want. I don't know. Do a song about whatever you want. But like my issue with the band isn't like the songwriting. My issue with the band is like, because the songwriting seems fine. My issue with the band isn't the music, because the music rocks pretty hard. My issue is like when I listen to it, I just get the feeling that there are great musicians who have backed themselves into a corner.
I can totally sympathize with what you're saying. See, I think I must like concept bands a little bit more than you do. Like my one,
I'll listen to a concept album, but a concept band.
See, I can't believe I haven't mentioned this. My favorite band is a concept band. And I can't believe I haven't mentioned them on this podcast. My favorite band is Ghost, which is a Swedish pop metal band.
Okay, but they do concept albums. They're not like every single song of like not.
I mean, Ghost is like it's a pretty narrow. But I mean, yeah, I guess because they have songs like most of their songs. The concept is like Hail Satan, but it's comes from different, like there's also there's a song about Elizabeth Bathory, there's a song there's a couple love songs, there are like there's songs about like the apocalypse, and there are songs about zombies. I don't know, it is still a concept band because everything is filtered through the concept of like the lead singer is a satanic pope on a mission to convert the world to Satan. Like, so like everything goes by that concept. But I guess this might be a little different from what you're describing though, because they do write songs about different things.
Right. I mean, you can
and in different styles.
I mean, that's just like from like writing songs from the perspective of character. That's different. You know? I mean, anybody can write songs from the perspective of a character. You could even write all of your songs from the perspective of a character if you wanted to. It's just like when you only have one subject matter that you are allowed to talk about in your music, that's just where you lose me, because I want to hear you say something else. Like I want to hear you talk about, you know, something different.
Yeah, no, I think I definitely understand where you're coming from, but overall, you liked the album?
Yeah, so here's what my takeaway is. I would not
final thoughts?
Yeah, I would not listen to this album again if you put a couple songs from this album on a playlist that I was listening to. I would not skip them. Like if they ended up on like a hair metal playlist that I was listening to, I would not I would be like, okay, yeah, I'll rock out to this song, you know. I put it between a Def Leppard song and a Poison song and a Rat song, put a Stryper song in there. All good.
Okay, so you're not going to like go listen to Hell with the Devil, which is the record immediately preceding this.
Nah, probably not, because I mean I know what to expect. Like I know that I'm going to hear like some hair metal about Jesus.
Yeah,
and
fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that like with AC/DC, all of their songs sound the same, all of their albums sound the same, but they write about different things. Like they got one song about TNT Dynamite, and they have one song about like actually they have a bunch of songs about hell, and then they have songs about like airplanes. They have songs about cars. They have songs about, you know, anything. But like they have a very specific aesthetic, but they write about a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not the biggest AC/DC fan.
I like
it's not
AC/DC,
like I hate him.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not like I hate him. It's just like it's not what I seek out to listen to.
No.
Anyway, well, this has been a nice discussion about metal and Stryper. Do we have anything that we've left out?
I don't think so. I think that pretty much covers it. But that brings me to what I want to assign you for next week's homework episode.
Oh, right.
Yeah, because this is a thing that we keep doing.
Because yes,
This is a
because
podcast that we
time.
have.
Because this is a podcast that we have, and because
Time is linear.
we haven't just been sitting here talking about it. There's people that are going to listen to this, and also because time is linear.
Yeah, and so in a week from now, there's going to be another episode. No, this next episode that people are going to be listening to, is actually a first time thing ever for this podcast. Okay, you want to know what it is?
Ooh.
So the first time ever, because it is a homework assignment that a listener has suggested.
Ooh.
And this is a listener that asked me, and this is something that I think, like, at least in culture, is very iconic. I am going to have you watch some episodes of the television show Sex and the City.
Okay, so this is a show that I have heard of and have never seen.
I have never seen it either.
Oh, fun.
So we're both going to be watching. I guess we're going to be starting in season 1, but also it's a show that it's iconic, right? I mean, this show is iconic. This show is
yeah, and I've heard that there are a lot of shoes in it, and I like shoes.
and it's archetypical for, like, this is the archetype show for, like, a lot of the single people in Manhattan TV shows. That is like a very common TV show theme. I think it came out in the late 90s. It came out after Friends, but it's very much more like specific to dating, specific to relationships. Then, I mean, that show has like characters that they like, that the writers are going to push these characters in together and at the beginning. But Sex and the City has like 4 main characters, and they're all heterosexual women, so there's not going to be like this character is going to end up with this character episode.
Oh, that's interesting. And
yes.
I imagine this passes the Bechdel test.
I don't know about that. You want to know why?
Is all they talk about, because all they talk about is going to be men, huh?
All they talk about is men and dating,
Damn.
I believe.
Man.
From what
I was so excited.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet.
The Bechdel test is like one thing that I wish I had never found out about, because now I apply it to everything and literally nothing passes, and it's really depressing.
Yeah, but like,
I just wish I had never found out about it.
I mean, you can't just like say, you can't just be like, oh, this isn't okay because it doesn't pass this test. I mean, it's just something you got to think about it. Take it with a grain of salt.
Oh no, like the Bechdel test isn't a yes or no, this is good media test. It's just hey, here's something to think about societally wise.
Absolutely. That's a great way of putting it. No, but
even though I made up a word.
Yeah, societally. I'm
tired. We recorded 2 long episodes today.
Yeah. No, it's true, and it kept cutting out. But so this is something also I think our listeners are going to be very excited about, because they're going to find out if you are a Carrie or a Miranda or a Charlotte or a who's the other one? I don't know. I'll have to watch it and find out.
I would have no idea.
Yeah. So
are we going to find out who you are as well?
Of course we are. That's going to be, I'm sure that's going to be a huge part of our discussion. But until next time, this has been the Leaving Eden podcast. Go and watch some Sex in the City. And then if you want to, or if you don't want to, and it's a popular show, so I think a lot of people will have already seen it. A lot of people will be familiar with it. This has been the Leaving Eden podcast. If you want to, you can tune in for part 2 of our Duggars show that's coming out on Monday. That's right. We release main episodes on Monday now. We release homework episodes on Thursdays. So Monday, we're going to be talking about the Duggars again. Thursday, we're going to be talking about Sex in the City. And I'm very excited. I'm very excited for this new year. We're back. We're making episodes. This is going to be I'm really excited. Anyway, so talk to you guys later. My name is Gabriel Hakohen. This has been the Leaving Eden podcast. You can follow the podcast on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Leaving Eden Podcast, except on Twitter it is at Leaving Eden Pod. And you can email us your homework episode suggestions at leavingedenpod@gmail.com, or just send us any random question. Please send us random questions so that we can do like a questions episode. But yeah, join our Facebook group. Fun. Subscribe to the Patreon. Sadie, do you want to plug your social?
Sure, why not? You can follow me on Instagram at HellYesSadie. No, wait. You can follow me on Instagram at Sadie Carpenter Music or on Twitter at HellYesSadie.
And you're on TikTok.
And I'm on TikTok. My TikTok handle is Sadie Carpenter 1.
And you can follow the podcast on TikTok. My name is Gabriel Hakohen. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at GAVRIELHACOHEN. Follow my Twitter at Your Own Risk. I say spicy stuff that you might not like. Anyway, until next time, this has been the Leaving Eden podcast, and we hope that you guys have a good day. Bye-bye.
But old rolling river of time, you healed me in too many days. No regrets, no confusion, there'll be no pollution. I'm so thankful I've decided to change my ways. I'm so thankful I decided to change.